we have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, like how did you start with all of these things?
Yes. So real quickly, how I started was my other passion is UFOs. I had, seen one at the age of 12, quite for 20 minutes it was up in the sky and it seemed to be kind of following me. But I can say that, the last 10 years we've been traveling around the world documenting this phenomenon and we've traveled to 21 countries. And back in 2017, we're in Australia and we met Leonia Pelt, an Australian. And, we went with her around a little bit and we had quite a few experiences and we documented them on film and so on. Great lady, sense of humor, fine lady. And when I got back from that expedition, that filming expedition, she sent me a video of her grandkids running around the backyard playing hide and go seek with masks on, with blindfold masks on. I first thought it was a joke and I wrote her and I says, Leonie, is this a joke or is this real? If it's real, I want to do it. So she wrote me back and said it's real. She's been teaching her grandkids for a few years and they can see perfectly fine blindfolded. And so she put me in touch with a lady here in Canada. And we went over a weekend and took some training. I think I saw one color the whole weekend. But a friend of mine who came with me, Wendy, we stayed with it afterwards and we started practicing on our own. And we discovered many things just by trial and error. There was nobody else in Canada to help us out. And we just practiced. And at the intuitive level, we found a lot of things that were helpful. One of the first things we found was laughter. Smiling, feeling good, and laughter, it seems the intuitive window just opens wide open. And, I was seeing every color and every shape she was holding up. So, and then we found out also that this intuitive mindsight that it's very closely connected with remote viewing. And, I was showing Wendy colors in the room, and all of a sudden she says, "Oh, my mindsight has left the room." It's kind of like they say, Elvis has left the building. And I said, "Where did it go?" She says, "Well, it went into the second bedroom." And I said, "Okay." So I took my colors and symbols into the second bedroom and closed the door, and she could see the computer, her laptop. And so I started holding things over the keypad of the computer where she was, seeing, and she got everything. And then we tried it further away, and we found out it doesn't matter how far away you are, you can see it as well if it's right in front of you with your blindfold on or on the other side of the world. It just doesn't matter. And what else did we have? We bumped into other aspects of this at the intuitive level of seeing things that are coming, like the near future. And
Mhm.
I would hold symbols up and colors, and she wasn't getting them. But when I played the video back, I saw the pattern. She was telling me the second and third one ahead. Okay. We also found, and this was just spontaneous. It seems that the mindset gets bored and it wants to show you other things, which really is just, a function of our own right brain. It's just inside of us. But we also found other things. This is all spontaneously by trial and error and by accident. We found also, when there were times that neither one of us would get what was being shown, and then we play the video back and we were going to the past and it was giving us the order of the ones that were shown just, 20 seconds before or things like that. Gosh, what else? We had things where she would have a card where the symbol was facing her and I was on this side and I could see through the card. So I would tell her what was on the card. Um, it seems to be, interconnected with telepathy as well. I mean, it seems that it interacts with all the different psi abilities. So we just had a lot of fun with it. We gradually advanced and had our mindset open up. And really, we did get with several other trainers over a period of time just to learn sort of different techniques and different ways that they might teach this. But ultimately, we came to the conclusion it it doesn't matter exactly what you do. It's more just the idea of anything. And we try to put it in a very simplified way. And, psychologists may disagree with this, but, you know, in our sort of very simple way of doing things, we looked at it that you have a left brain and a right brain. Left brain is intellectual, reasoning, logical, ego-based. Our willpower, it's kind of where we sit most of the time. And we feel that this ability exists in the right brain, in the creative, intuitive, sensing side. So we discovered by trial and error, just like, Edison took 2,000 tries before he got the light bulb. I'm not saying we did 2,000 things, but probably pretty close to it. And we discovered all these things by trial and error. And we discovered that anything you can do, it doesn't matter. Anything that you can do that can occupy the left brain, keep it busy, distract it, annoy it, okay? Anything that you can do there will keep it from interfering with the right brain. And the right brain will come through with the Mindsight. And then we also discovered other things that you could do to help encourage what we consider it's almost like this little child inside of us, little girl, little boy, because seems to behave like that. I don't know if it's true, but we just use that kind of a model because it seems to work. But anything that can encourage that little child to come out and play. And, will involve games like a lot of children's games. And the more you can just have fun, be spontaneous, be in the moment, the more this intuitive level mindset will work. And then, once you have that intuitive level mindset, then you can advance to the actual seeing the room in real time mindset. And, we've discovered different ways to get to that spot also. One of them is basically imagining a little light in front of you. And we'll have participants that will notice a pinhole of light in the mask, and not from around the nose or not from around the sides, but a little pinhole of light. And they will start to see a color in that light. And uh, once that happens, more pinholes will develop. They get bigger and they can see detail through that and eventually bigger screen. Now, many people have said, oh, you're just looking down the side of your nose or you're looking through the edges. And it's like, well, for people like that, if they want to come to the seminar workshops, they can actually use that too to help their seeing the room in real time mindset come open. We've found that both methods work, and you folks have been at it for a long time. I'm sure that you've found many other ways that work as well. And I would love to hear about that.
Yes. Yeah, I want to go to this way too. Before I have a lot of questions because one it's just a question that it's not important, but so you uh learn from try and mistake and try and mistake and try and victory.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that you trained with Infovision with Michaela Strati.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so when we were, oh gosh, probably several months into our own training and
Mm-hmm.
discovering all these things, we did have Michaela come over. God
Okay.
rest her soul. Apparently, she has now passed away. Um, but we did train from her. We brought her over for a week right here in this very room, and we did training under her. We did several online trainings. We did a tour training with Evelyn, of Evelyn and Axel in Germany. We did a little course with Carolyn Corey. Um,
Mhm.
Michaela, of course, was with Mark Komisaroff. So when we finished up the week, we met him for a day, and he did some training with us one-on-one. Um, and then, of course, Wendy and myself, we spent hundreds of hours. So most of what happened was as a result of what we did. I guess you could say training with all these other people didn't really tell us much new. It really just confirmed what we already knew. But still, we wanted to meet and get with others just in case there's something we missed. And and, and ultimately, it just seemed to be about getting relaxed, let go of that left brain, like let go of the chattering, let go of the, judging yourself, criticizing yourself. Just let it all go and let the mind sight come wandering out.
Yeah.
And, it's kind of like that little child, that timid little child. And if you make the conditions right, that timid little child will start to interact with other children and get more confidence and become a great person in society. And it seems, the mindset seems very similar to that.
Yeah, I'm so happy that you say. Sorry, Tanya. Just 1 second more, and I left you. I'm so happy that you say that because I think that it's funny. I was writing the second program of this podcast. It's the place where we thought that you can appear in this podcast. And at the beginning of this podcast, I write something like agriculture appears in different places without no connection. The telephone was invented the same day two people went to do the license of the,
Mhm.
I don't know the name. So, and you was explaining something that with Tanya we have been doing also, no, investigating and having the same experience, and we have not contact with other people at the moment. One day I arrived at home and I found Tanya and some participant laughing. The participant was laughing a lot, a lot, a lot, and I said, "What's happening here?" And the participant says, "If I stop to laugh, I cannot see anymore." So laugh is very important, and we have been saying the same. Be as a kid, play,
Mhm.
enjoy,
Mhm.
and the magic it happens. So we have arrived to the same point, but with no connection. So it's interesting. And Tanya, just I want to do this.
Yeah, I wanted to do the same, the same comment, because it's so funny to see that there's a lot of methodologies around the world, and every methodology works so different from another. And I arrive at the conclusion that it's not so important the methodology that you want to use. What's really important is from where do you do it. So this where space, it's from being like a kid and
Mhm.
playing and have fun, and yeah, like returning back to our roots as a soul, as a person, as a human. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It seems that, I mean, many children operate this spontaneously as kids. And I've said many times that, likely almost every one of us, sometime between the age of 2 and 3, we may have gone out to the kitchen with our hands over our eyes and say, "Mommy, I can see you. I can see you." Many kids probably have done that. And, unfortunately, they got shut down because their parent may say, "Well, honey, sweetheart, that's just make believe. It's not real." And of course, as a little child, that shuts you down. So really, picking up Mindsight again as an older person, it's really going back to that spot where you left off. And to do that, you've got to really, bring out that little child in yourself and just start playing again. And then, pick that up and continue on with it forward and give yourself permission. Because, in society, we're not supposed to be silly and laughing all the time and doing all these crazy things. But in the context of Mindsight, it works. Like I tell my students, this is not school, this is not class. You can slouch, you can, start daydreaming, looking out the window. Even don't even pay attention to me like you would in school. And the more you can just let go of that concentration, the more your mind sight's going to come out. It's counterintuitive, it seems, but it works. It's the opposite of learning at school. You don't want to be serious at all. Serious seems to be a left brain function. And we want to get as far away from the left brain as we can to make this work.
Yeah. And you've mentioned before that you found like two ways to develop this ability, like the intuitive level and the advanced level. So can you explain us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so you can, like some people say, well, should I have the mask tight? Well, we say make it comfortable, have it so that you don't see any light. And we will go around and just film everybody when they're satisfied that there's no light there, in case we need to show them after. You know what I'm getting at here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and when they have their mask on, they will spontaneously get areas of sometimes little dots. Now, sometimes it can be the foam, looking through the edges of the foam, but it doesn't matter because even if it is that you are looking through the foam, it seems from what I've discovered is that you can kind of trick the brain. You can look through those tiny little dots, but suddenly one of the dots will be the precursor of Mindsight. In other words, one of those dots, you'll be able to see a color through a little more clear than the other ones, and then it'll get bigger. And suddenly you can see detail through that. Now, some people, their mask is, they're not seeing through the foam at all. And even those people that are apparently seeing through the foam, we don't know 100% if it's true they're looking through the foam or if that is their mind sight overlaying. It doesn't matter either way. It seems that this little dot will start up and then you can see color through it and then you'll get detail through it. And then what we do is towards the end of the week, we give out eye patches. And we encourage them to try one eye first with an eye patch. And this is to kind of confuse the brain and trick it a little more. And then take that one off, put it on the other side, and they're still seeing through their window, right through the center of the mask, not around the edges, but through the center. And then they put both eye patches on. And bingo, it's like, oh my goodness, I have eye patches plus a mask, and I can still see. And in the last class here in May, we experimented with, I don't have the black sheet. This is a pink sheet, but we had a black paper and we put Velcro on the mask and we had it stuck to the mask in front. So three things, mask, patches, plus the paper, and they were seeing through all three layers. So
Wow.
if that isn't enough to shut down that crazy lying left brain, I don't know what is. But honestly, once they put that paper in front, then they absolutely know that they know that they know they are seeing through the mask. Well, seeing through the mask, the paper, and the patches. Because, as adults, our left brain questions everything and it tries to get in there and shut down and shoot down everything you're doing and say, no, 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 you're cheating. Somehow there's a tiny hole in the plastic of the mask, or somehow there's holes in the patches. But when you do a third thing of a sheet of black paper, again, this one's pink, but I cannot look through that. But when you activate your mind sight and you're able to see, I don't know what more we need to give the students for proof that they're seeing with their mind sight at the advanced level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, and what is the other level?
So you can have the people start either by having it dark and the pinholes will spontaneously appear. Okay. Or you can cheat. You can ask them to loosen their mask a little bit. Now, this is what Michaela did if the people were having trouble. That left brain getting in there all the time. So she would have students loosen the mask so that, yes, you are seeing a little bit of light through the foam, okay? And agree that, yeah, I'm looking through the edge of the mask, but humor yourself and say, but I don't care. I'm going to use this to get me kick started. And so we find that you can use either method. It doesn't matter. And do you have another method also or two as well to add to that?
Yeah, I want to share. I did the workshop with Michaela, and when she say that I had to untie. I said no, I don't want untied. I don't want it. And a lot of other people do it, and they don't see nothing. And I said, okay, I'm going to untie it. And I said, okay, I can see everything. I can go to the fridge and take a yogurt, and all the other people can't. And I said, what's happened here? I don't understand that. And so I said to Michaela, sorry, I don't want to do. I will do really tight, but I was really surprised because especially there was a boy. I think that he was an actor of Hollywood, but I'm not sure about that. Um, because he was really familiar and well, doesn't matter. And he was able to at the beginning nothing, absolutely nothing, and at the end he was writing on the laptop, and he was seeing what I was showing in my camera, and I said, okay, something happens here. Something happens because he has done a really a big change of his vision. And until this moment we started to work with that with this tool, but doing some changes. We are going to, okay, we are going to do that, but then when you got it, a little bit more tight, and then a
Hmm.
little bit more tight, and then a little bit more tight, and at the end they are more tight that at the first lesson, and they are seeing everything. And something happens. Yes, something happens.
It seems that, I kind of call it kickstarting it, or it's kind of like overlaying some light in your visual field, and then that somehow encourages the mindsight to copy and duplicate and overlay. And as you say, once it starts coming out, then you can make the mask tighter and it still works, tighter and it still works. And there you go. Mission accomplished, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and what is the second level?
That is the
Like you
second
mean,
level. That
Ah, that is
like
the second,
yeah, the first level is the
the first
intuitive
level. So,
level. Yeah. Yeah, so the first level is intuitive. We call it intuitive. And that's where and we can get everybody open to that level very quickly. Like usually within an hour or two. But it's, seeing colors, shapes, very, very hazy and very vague. And most of the time, it's almost like a photograph that just pops and then disappears. And it's typically very hazy and vague. And at that level, sometimes you don't even see the pictures. You get a knowing, a very strong knowing, or you can get an energy, or you could even hear your own voice that could say, Rob, it's red, or Rob, it's a triangle. Like many different things you can get at that intuitive level. And we use that level, if you want to call that level one, to get to level two, which is seeing the room in real time mindsight, where the first one is like photos. Sometimes it can be video, but most of the times it's photos from what we've experienced. And in the second level or the advanced level, when you're seeing the room in real time, even if it's a tiny spot, I would compare it to real time video. So in other words, wherever you look, you're seeing whatever is happening out there. It's one to one with the actual reality of the other side of the mask. Whereas at the intuitive level, it's all very hazy, nebulous. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it goes to a little bit to the future, to the past, you know, locally or non-locally, somewhere else. So we just use that to get to the second level, to get to the advanced level. Now, many people, when they reach the advanced level, they don't want to go back and do the intuitive stuff. But I encourage our students, I say, but now it's easy for you to see through the mask, through the paper, through the patches. I encourage them, go ahead and continue to practice and make that bigger, but don't lose the intuitive. Like there's so many aspects of the intuitive side of Mindsight that can provide valuable information to you in your life. I gave the example of one of the folks who was at the seminar. When they went home, they text me and they says, I'm glad that I've developed my intuitive level of the Mindsight. And I say, well, why is that? And they said, well, I was stopped at a traffic light. The light turned green and I went to put my foot on the gas, on the accelerator, but I heard a voice that said, stop. And she said, I immediately put my foot on the brake. And just then a car came right across the intersection through the red light in front of her. Now, that's information at the intuitive level. And she was in tune to it and she received it successfully. And it may have saved her life. If she started into the intersection, she would have got broadsided by that car coming through at a high rate of speed. So that's just one example. I mean, I'm sure you folks have many examples too. So while we use the intuitive level of Mindsight to get started, because it seems to be easier to accomplish, it's fairly easy to accomplish, and it gives people confidence that they can actually do something that's different. And when they gain that confidence, then they can take the next step to the seeing the room in real time Mindsight. And many people want to just not even do the intuitive after that, but we do encourage them, go ahead and practice that. And, we do online practice sessions Mondays and Thursdays for all the people that have taken the course. And most of the time we're doing intuitive exercises because the people can already see in real time. So no matter what they're seeing anyway, what's in their mask. So most of the time I will take cards and I will, shuffle them. I'll take one out, right? But not let them see it. And I'll hold it under the desk and they get it. Recently I had, oh gosh, Claudia got the word could. We had Artie got the word children. That's what she saw, and it was correct. And then another person was at the word soon, but that almost seems like more fun. Once they're seeing the room in real time, it's almost like doing those kind of exercises are boring because they can see, period. It's always working. It's one-to-one with what's out there. So they're a little bit bored. So we do a lot of this intuitive remote viewing locally. And I will even, take one of the objects from the room before the class and I'll snap a photo of it. And then I will ask them, okay, go in my phone at this time and tell me what the picture is. And sure enough, they get it. I was doing a practice with Claudia and it was a simple silver candle holder from the dollar store, dollar and a half. And she wasn't getting it. And it was under the table. It was out of view. And I said, well, Claudia, you have the ability, if I give you the UPS number or the UPC number, whatever it's called, you can go with your Mindsight into the inventory through the internet, into their computer. Now, don't do anything else, but just go and find out what this item is. And immediately when I said that, she blurted out candle holder. Now,
Wow.
there's no reason why I would have a candle holder. I had only had it because I had watched the Henry Sugar movie and he used a candle. So I bought the candle holder and I was just practicing with the candle, like he does in that movie. But literally with our Mindsight, we can do anything we want, but it's a matter of what do you want to do? So we use it simply as a stepping stone to reach the advanced level. But once somebody reaches that, we do encourage them to, enjoy those new intuitive powers that you have and explore and, you know, use it in a benevolent, beneficial way. And it can be very helpful in your life.
Yeah, yeah, that's really amazing, and I love this kind of playful games. They're really fun, and yeah, when one have our advanced level develop, it's so funny to play with that, and also to apply to our lives, to our daily day. I remember one day we have three kids, Jordi and I remember one day that we were on a camping, very big and crowded camping, doing a course there in Madrid. And it was night, 9 p.m., and our little kid was really lost at the camping, and we cannot find him. And we were really, wow, I don't know what we're gonna do. And we started searching him, but autistic child. We don't like to put some like concepts on him, but yeah, at this time was not responding to his name. So all the people were saying, "Lau, Lau, where are you?" But I was thinking, no, no, he will not come. No, of course. And it passed 2 hours. It was really late, really dark, and all the people searching. And my mother says, "Wow, Tanya, why don't you use your inner screen to ask where he is? So you're doing, I don't know what you're doing." And then I closed my eyes, and I was seeing all the camping with all the things in the camping in there, and a point, like a red point in some space in the camping, very located. And I think, okay, so let's go. We cannot lose anything, so let's go there. And we arrived there with my other children, and just staying there. And he was like, "Hey, mommy, I cannot find a legal piece, and can you help me, please?" And he was there, exactly there at that point, and he was okay, so everything go well. But it's amazing because it's really useful in our lives.
Mhm.
And some of that situations, like the driving things, and yeah, situations like that, we can use it. Yeah.
Excellent. And even a situation like that where you temporarily lost your child, and that was fabulous that you were able to engage that and use that and you were successful.
Yeah, yeah. And I know that you also work with blind people, and I think it can be really nice if you can explain your experience. And I think that you've worked that week with a girl that I think that has no eyes, and maybe you can explain that.
Sure. Her name's Kelly, and she lives about an hour and a half away from here. And she came to our course here in just a few weeks ago. And, the blind people generally take a little bit longer to learn, or at least to open up the ability. If people have had eyesight earlier in the life, we find it's generally easier. But with Kelly, she was born blind. And at the age of 2, she developed severe glaucoma in her eyes and had to have the one eye removed. And then at the age of 3, they had to take the other one out. So she is, the lady without eyes who sees. Um, she told me that as a young child, she had mindsight, a form of mindsight spontaneously. Like she was very loved and is to this day by her friends and family, and she got a lot of nurturing around her as a young child. And that is possible that that contributed to her spontaneous mindset coming open. She said it wasn't open all the time, but it just came and went. And even in later years, when she was working, her colleagues would tease her and say, "Well, you're not really blind," because she could say what color shirt somebody had on. She could describe their face. if they had red hair or black hair, what color their eyes were. So she had this ability because we all have it anyway. We're born with it. And but as she got older, she kind of moved away from it. Your life gets busy, you spend so much time in your left brain, and she moved away from it. So when she found out about, vision without eyes, she contacted me and we talked about it. And I said, well, you can reactivate what you already had as a child or as a younger person. So she did come for the week. She was getting colors and symbols and so on. And then I asked her, I said, we really need to keep working away with this. And so I invited her to come to my house for 2 weeks. And we had one of our trainers, Dahlia, who's very strong with her seeing, spent the first week with her. And then the second week, we had Nikki spend time with her. Dahlia did a lot of exercises around sensory things, like associating different colors and symbols with sounds, with smells, with the texture of paper. Even though the papers were the same, she would have Kelly say, well, this one feels rougher than this. Now, they were the same, but you could create associations which the brain somehow remembers that the one that you said rougher is always this paper. Even though you shuffle them around, it can find that paper again. So Delia did a lot of things around sensory things, okay, even echolocation. And they went into the bathroom and turned the lights off and did it in the dark as well and were successful. So she did a lot of different things that you wouldn't normally do for the sighted people. You don't need to. And that was very, very helpful. And, we would go on what we called doing field work. We'd go out and go to the stores, and I would have Kelly, there's one video I sent you where there was a first aid box, and I asked Kelly to describe the colors of the box, and she did successfully every single color. And the other video you'll see is where, Nikki laid down two colors and a symbol. Now, the symbol could be any one of seven. There's triangle, square, circle, and plus. They could be open and closed, except the plus just a solid one. And then there was, I think, four colors, four primary colors. So could have been any colors, could have been any symbols. And Kelly successfully saw the color and where it was, and she got the symbol that it was a triangle. So um, we asked her if she has a window. It's interesting because she appears to have a window that's coming and going, because sometimes she appears to be able to see in real time. Um, and she can describe, and we've had her, we're out traveling in the car, and all of a sudden she'll say, oh, I see a sign. And she described that, the sign had two red horizontal lines, top and bottom, white in the middle, and she read what the word was. And
Oh,
so it appears that she is reaching the seeing in real time level, the advanced level, but she's moving back and forth. And as her confidence develops around this more, I think she will find that will open more. And I encourage her to, practice around the house. She has her sister now helping her practice. And then, I'll go with one of the trainers and we'll spend a day with her in the coming weeks. We want to get her seeing in real time so that, she's going to retire her guide dog this fall and she doesn't want to get another one. So we want her to have her real-time Mindsight opening by at least the fall or earlier. So we're having great success. We've trained several other blind folks. Everybody reaches the intuitive level, and the other blind folks too. Some have we're seeing in younger years. Others are born blind, and a lot of them seem to be floating in and out of this seeing the real time level. It seems to sometimes turn on and they can see whatever you put there. Other times it defaults back to the intuitive level. So, teaching the blind seems to be more challenging, but it's not impossible. And there's lots of videos on the internet of blind people seeing. And how has your experience been?
I want to ask you something about that. Do you think that blind people it's more challenging because mm, mm, uh, maybe I don't know, it's a question. Uh, this as you said before, when we work on tight, we have some extra easily way to arrive to this ability. But if you cannot catch this light, maybe for this reason it's a little bit more difficult, but not impossible.
Yeah, with Kelly, she now describes a light. For example, Claudia, one of my other students, she calls it as a headlamp. She says it feels like it's like a light shining from behind her and
Mhm.
illuminating what's in front of her. Kelly is describing a similar thing that comes and goes also. Okay, so what I have the blind folks do is I will have them imagine a light. Like Kelly has dreams that she has visual dreams. So even though she's blind, she describes things visually, you know, and she knows what light is and she can sense light. So we do use that. And I ask her to imagine a light. And now she is getting this sort of headlamp effect where it's seems to be illuminating what's in front. And they were using that in the dark when they closed the door of the bathroom and put a towel on the bottom of the door to make it very dark in there. Nikki and Dahlia were experimenting that with her. So I agree that it is more challenging because as sighted people, we have light to work with to help this happen. But if you're a blind person, you may not even know what the concept of light is, so we have to work around imagery a little bit and find ways that they can pretend to see a light or imagine a light or imagine something that could be some kind of an energy or something in the center, and it seems to work. And I'm sure that we will all find other ways as well. But, it is challenging, but it's not impossible.
Yeah, absolutely. You ask our experience. I think that Tania can answer because she has worked with a lot. I can answer about because I have seen 60 hours of videos of blind people doing exercises, so I can answer too. But Tania was there, so maybe Tania it's better.
Yeah, yeah, and then we found a lot of people that are interested in that ability, and they also developed the intuitive level. This is our second level for us. It's the first level for you. Yeah, it's like this inner screen, and you can ask all the information to this inner screen. And for this pre-study, we've tried to use that way to have access to information. And also, I've worked with people that who have no previous vision, and they told me that the time that they were seeing something, they've seen in 360 degrees
Ah.
because they don't have yeah, like the mentality to put the focus in front so they can see everything, yeah, yeah, also in the backs. And also something that happened to a participant in that study, she was in the middle of the city like a few weeks ago, and she can see something. She's not absolutely blind. She can see in front, so everything that is on the corner they cannot see it. And most of the time that she gone to Barcelona, to the city, she was afraid because there's a lot of people there and a lot of cars, and she cannot control anything. And at that time, she was like really sure, like, okay, I'm okay, and I'm on my intuitive level. I can see and perceive things. And that time, she see one person at her back, trying to catch her back,
Oh,
and she ran away, and she was like, "Wow." how can I see that? So yeah, I was seeing with my intuition, and yeah, he finally everything is okay. But he was like, wow, it's really amazing to use that in my daily life because yeah, it's useful. And yeah,
Another common experience is the speleologist illusion, that they are able to see the windows, the doors, black and white, and they can move for the space, but they are not able to see colors. Just they are seeing the shapes of
Mhm.
everything. That it's
yeah. We have like two of the participants of this study told me that two or more maybe they can see the shapes on maybe it's shadow, and maybe for some of them it's like light, like neon light.
Mhm.
They can see the shapes of the room and people also and things like that.
and also
Ye-
colocalization.
Yeah, yeah, we've worked with echolocalization,
Uh-huh.
and it's funny because the people who has no vision at the moment, they can it's so easy for them. They told me, yes, Tanya, I feel the difference when it's an empty space or when it's a big room or when I have something in front of me, I can do and
Clicking,
then I feel
clicking,
the
yeah.
difference. And with the people who have a little bit of vision, they told me, no, Tanya, I don't feel the difference. So it's like, wow, how the brain restructures and works when something is missing, like vision, and all the senses are like activating.
Exactly. And do they call it neuroplasticity or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And Kelly describes that. She plays with echolocation too. She'll make some clicking sounds just to listen how it echoes, and she can also tell when there's objects nearby just by what it sounds like. It becomes an intuitive thing. And apparently, some people can get really good at this and almost form an image in their mind of based on the clicking sounds that are coming back, almost like a radar, sonar.
And are you agree with the sentence or with the affirmation that maybe the images that we see are created in the neurocortex, and when we are dreaming, neocortex is working. When we are imagining, uh, also, and but when we are seeing without eyes, do you think that that it's also activated, or what happens here? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I know that we use visualization a lot.
Mhm.
So it's possible. I mean, I haven't gotten into the scientific side of it too much, Jordi. We've tried a lot of different things, and we do use visualization to kind of light up a person's imagination. I will quite often, for example, if I've got several cards, I will tell the person to visualize a white card with a red border. Okay. And then I will say, okay, go to the center of the white and what pops out. And most of the time, they will describe what's on the card. So that's a very simple visualization, but sometimes we get into more complex visualizations. It seems to be one of the many tools to help a person along. And I don't know if it is also overlapping with the idea that you're distracting their left brain, you know,
Mhm.
because anything that distracts that left brain, like, tapping them on the shoulder or tapping them on the head or telling them to tap their nose or, scratch the table, anytime you tell them to do something different, boom, they seem to get it at the intuitive level. We
Yeah.
discovered, Wendy and I discovered that if you can even just, snapping your fingers and then the left brain is like, well, what's that? And in that moment, the right brain can slip through the image. It seems like the left brain is the gatekeeper and it's standing in the door all the time. And if you can distract it, the right brain can be like that little child that can boom, slip through the door and get it. But yeah.
My favorite sentence now for that, it's dance with the picture. And then the people start to do the movements
Ah,
exactly that are inside the pictures. So it's something different that when they say I don't catch nothing, I don't perceive, just dance with the, and they start do some movements that are exactly what there is in the picture. So it's really funny. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I, yeah,
I was
yeah,
I was going to say that quite often, and you've probably seen this too, is you maybe have something that's round, and you'll ask the participant, "Well, just start moving your finger in a way," and sure enough, they're moving their finger in a circle, mimicking what's on the card. So what I've noticed is physical movement is good. Any physical movement you know, like kinesiology seems to be connected into this as well. If you can get them doing things physically with their body, like moving their hands. For Claudia, when I was teaching her, she was knitting all the time, moving her fingers and knitting. A good distraction, plus it's physical movement of the body. Um, it seems that that's just, again, one of many tools that can be helpful to distract the left brain, keep it engaged, or there could be other reasons why it's working. Don't know. I just know that it's just another tool you can add into the mix to help a person if they're having trouble.
Yep, absolutely. Anya?
yeah. And it's funny how all the body is involved with that process, with feelings, sensations, like some smells, and the body's moving, what's perceiving. And I think it's not a relation of causality in that. I think it's like a field that it's involving our soul, body, and all of our concepts.
Exactly. And, we try to engage different aspects of our senses. For example, we'll take little cups and put different spice in every cup. And if they're having trouble getting something, okay, open up one of the cups, smell it, tell me what the smell is. And as they're smelling it, suddenly they'll say, oh, I see the orange. Now, once again, is that you've activated their sensory side? Whether it's actual physical senses or emotional senses? Is it a distraction? I'm not sure. I just know that, again, it's one of those things that you can try, and when somebody's having trouble, it can work, you know. And another thing we found that if you try to keep using the same tool, then the mindset seems to get bored really fast. It's like, well, the tool worked yesterday, but now it doesn't work today. Or the tool worked a minute ago, but now it doesn't work. It seems it's like the mindset is like that child that says, "Come on, you got to get more creative than that. Come on, we're playing. You can be more playful than that. That's boring. We already did that." And it really is like you're talking to this little child that's inside the person, and you do have to get creative and play fun games and do different things to encourage that mindset to come on.
Yes, absolutely. So, coming back to the blind people, uh, how did you start it? Why you did it? What was the reason that pushed you to work in that direction?
Yeah, well, there's really a few reasons. One, my very first friend that I had when I was a little boy was blind. And, I was a very shy boy myself, and it wasn't easy for me to make friends like the other children. And I made friends with this blind boy at school. And then we were getting along just fine. It didn't matter to me that he was blind. That didn't make any difference to me as a little boy. And I remember that he invited me to come over to his place to play. And I was all excited that I was going to get to go to his place and play. And I walked all the way through our neighborhood, it was a few blocks away. I knocked on the door. His mother came to the door and said, "I'm sorry, Robert. Raymond will not be coming out to play. He won't be playing with you anymore. We're taking him out of school. He's going to go to a blind school. I'm sorry. Goodbye." And as a little boy, I was devastated. And I went home crying because it's like my only friend in this, I just got rejected. So I always remembered that. And I thought, why couldn't he have gone to the normal school? Why couldn't he be like other kids and just learn? Now, Kelly did go to normal schools and did fit in, right? And then later on in my life, now my mom's passed away now, but she developed macular degenerate and her eyesight, it starts with the center, your sharp sight disappears and then it moves out. So eventually she went blind and I really felt at a loss why I couldn't help her. And so when I found out about this ability, I thought, well, I can go and help people like my original friend, my very first friend, Raymond. I can help people like my mom who went blind. And the third reason I thought was, um, we're teaching sighted people, and many will stay with it. Others will just treat it like a parlor trick, like, okay, I did it. I don't want to do it anymore. And for me, I feel like, well, wow, you invest all this time with these people, they get it, and then they just drop it. It's like they go on to another challenge, another notch in the belt, right? And so that felt a little bit weird for me. And I thought, well, but the blind people, they need it and most want it. And therefore, the work that you invest, and I'm sure like you two, you put your heart and soul into this. It's a passion. And it's like most of those folks will stay with you. They will become lifetime friends. And because you'll work with them even outside of the seminars and, long after, and you can feel good about that. You can feel good that you've actually helped a blind person to see. You've allowed them to open, you've helped them to open up a tool that we all have that they can use that can enrich their life. And for me, that feels good. And so those are the reasons I'm not walking away from the sighted people, because in our seminars, it's good to have both. We teach the sighted people, they get all excited, their mindsight opens. That infectious enthusiasm, the blind people are hearing what's going on. So that helps them to open. Also, some of the blind people do open earlier. And believe me, when the blind people start to see colors and that infectious enthusiasm spreads to all the sighted people in the group, then they open even faster. So it's kind of a thing like this. One group helps the other. And the blind people have told me, they said it's so nice to be working side by side with sighted people. They said, for the first time, I feel like I'm on a level playing ground with them. I don't feel like I'm inferior. And so I think that we'll always have both the sighted people and the blind people together. Like we'll continue to work in these groups, and I won't specifically focus on the blind people. It will be both, because it seems like one needs the other and one can help the other to achieve results even faster.
Wow.
Yeah.
After listening you, I have two questions. One, the first question, I don't know if the other time you explain it or not, and maybe it's so personal, but and uh, um, do you had the chance to meet Raymond again?
To meet Raymond?
Your friend? Yes.
No, no, because they moved away.
Okay.
I don't know. You see, we lived in a city called Sarnia, Ontario, Canada, which was only like 50,000 people at the time. And these blind schools are usually in the bigger cities. So I believed they moved to maybe Toronto or somewhere. And after the lady closed the door, I never saw him again. After his mother
Okay.
closed the door, I never saw him again. But it always bothered me that, she basically shut him away from a friend that he had, like me. And now I went on and made other friends, but um, it always bothered me that she was disconnecting him from society, that he was going to be put away and hidden in a blind school. Now, I hope that the society they have in blind schools was supportive for him and encouraged him to go out and mix. But I don't know if that was what happened. I just don't know.
Okay. So I hope that someday he receives some video of you explaining that.
Well,
And
well, with the synchronicities that happen around Mindsight, probably something like that will happen, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
The second one is about Mihaela Strati again. I remember some exercise. I think that it was with she, but I'm not sure because I also have done, we have also done workshops with several people. Uh, I remember one exercise that she encouraged us to put our lab really far away from us because I make it online, and he put some letters in Arial 12, some kind of little letters on the computer, and I need to put the again. I need to put the computer far away because I still see it, and she requests us to, when we lost the letter, when just we see a dot and we cannot see what it was, that just be focused on this point, and then the letter appears. And yes, I remember it was a G, and yes, it appears like the dot was here, but in my mind appears for a second, just was like a second of clarity.
Yes.
Um, what I want to say with that, I don't know exactly, but some days ago we interviewed an expert of vision here in Spain. The last years, there is a lot of people training like yoga eyes. They are improving their sight with eye exercise and also with visualization. And yes, the question is, have you seen somebody that has improved his or her sight
Yes.
after developing Mindsight?
Yeah, it's quite common. For example, Claudia, my student, she went to the, and she now, is one of our trainers and demonstrators, but she went to the optometrist to get her eyes checked because she has the retina pigmentosa, which is gradually, it's like tunnel vision is slowly closing up. And the optometrist asked her, "Are you wearing contacts?" And she says, "No. Why do you ask?" He said, "Because you have improved on the vision test since last time." And which, we know is impossible with RP. Like RP is a progressive disease that does not reverse. It only gets worse and worse and worse. Maybe it can slow down, but it doesn't go backwards. It's a physical breakdown of structures in the eyes that progressively gets worse over time. But yet the optometrist told her her vision had improved. And Claudius asked me, "How is that possible?" And I says, "Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's your mind sight has overlaid your actual vision in real time during the day." And I know that to be true because I had an experience myself. And I think I may have mentioned it last time. I was on a ski trip and I normally don't get involved with my cell phone when we're skiing and on the lift, but I was expecting a super important text. And the text came when we were on the chairlift. And I don't wear my glasses when I'm skiing. Okay. For skiing, you see out far and that's good enough. I mean, I can avoid everybody and I can see reasonably. It's not totally clear, but it's good enough. No problem. I avoid hitting people and I can enjoy my time. This text came and I thought, oh my goodness, there's that text. I better read it. Without even thinking, I grabbed the phone out of my pocket and I read the text entirely on my phone, and it was small font. When I was finishing up the last three words, I said to myself, wait a minute. I shouldn't be able to read that. I'm not wearing my glasses. And then it went blurry. And then I tried to get it back and I couldn't get it back. But there's a case where my Mindsight came on spontaneously because I needed it. It came on right during the day. And in terms of Claudia, when she took the eye test, I believe her Mindsight came on for her and overlaid on top of her regular eyesight because her test showed that her eyesight had improved. She could see smaller characters that she hasn't been able to see maybe for 2 or 3 years. And the doctor was super surprised. So that had to have been her Mindsight.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we have the same experiences with some students that take off the blindfold and say, "Oh, wow, I can read that before I can't. What's happening here?" So yes, something happens. I think also that goes it goes with Michaela, but I don't remember neither. That she says um, sixth chakra was Ajna, and it's the two eyes and the third eye. And when you train one, you are training the others. And at the same time, if you are training the others with these little spots, you can rise the vision with this third eye. I don't know if that takes sense for you. Makes
Yeah, I
sense?
mean, there's lots of different ways to explain it. And you were talking earlier about, having the font so small, but then you focused in on it and it became big. Wendy and I spontaneously ran into that also where we had it just happened spontaneously, but we were holding letters very far away and our mind sight kind of zoomed in on it and we could read it. And also almost like a macro vision where you could have something up very close and see it almost like under a microscope. So, now we didn't train that to develop it because we said, well, if we train that way, then maybe that's how we're going to go around where everything is telephoto. And, you know, I think in the end, the normal mindset would be, the default would come where it's just like your ordinary eyes because that's what's most useful. But we didn't want to pursue it because we didn't want that to be the default position of our mindset where we're going around like our eyes are like telescopes, right? But we did run into that and it was spontaneous and it was kind of when we needed to be able to see what was super far away, it just came on. But that only happened a few times, but it did happen.
Tanya, has you some question more?
Not really.
A
Nope.
thousand, but
Yeah, of course.
yes, I have the last question. It's not about that, but it's more for us or for just for know it. What about side games?
Oh yeah, the side games are in Canada is the long weekend, so it's the August 1st weekend, and Hakeem Isler has put them on, and Alex is going to be there. Alex Gomez, he
Mhm.
will be there. I know they have a website, Sci Games International or something, and people can go and attend. They have many different super important speakers there, well-known people around the world, around remote viewing, around different things of psi abilities, and they're having contests. We're sending a team, our Vision Without Eyes team, VWE team, and we'll have t-shirts for them and everything, and it's just going to be a fun thing. And they'll have judges there, and there'll be competitions under remote viewing, Mindsight, precognition, dowsing, clairvoyance. I think there's might be one other one, and people can compete either solo, so you can compete on your own, or you can form a team and compete as a team. So we're sending a team, and I'll be there as well. I've helped out Hakeem. I've sponsored a table, so we'll be sitting at a table also. With the VWE banner and so on. So we'll be there for the weekend. And if I get a chance to get away from the table, I would love to hear some of the speakers speak because these are renowned people that are going to be there. So, anybody can go on the website they'll find it just by Google searching it. PSI Games International. Hakeem Isler, I believe is his last name. Hakeem, Hakim. So I don't have the exact website here, but one way or the other, they can find it for sure.
Yeah, I participate just when Carol Bassi.
Ah, Carol. Yeah,
Yeah,
Carol. Right.
he make the course with us last weekend. Last
Hmm.
weekend, what? Yes. And she 1 month ago she told me, yeah, the Sci Games website it's open, and just ran for 2 days more.
Uh,
And I just practiced 2 days, but it was amazing. So you are going to be there like a speech and like a trainer and
uh,
participating.
yeah, for me, will be really what the vendor tables, people asking about our seminars, with just little handouts of things, maybe brochures and so on. And then I'll be there to support our team. Like we'll have a team of 5 people. They've all taken the seminars and they're our top people. So they
Mhm.
will be there. You can only have, on a team, you can only have one out of each category. And I think Carol likely will be representing telekinesis. Yeah.
Telekinesis.
Yeah, I think so. She's pretty strong in the telekinesis.
Wow.
And don't know, Dalia Burguen is our team leader. So they have to do their interviews and see how they are in the different levels. And then Dalia will make a decision as to which person, like for each category, who's going to be our strongest person. So it probably will be Carol for telekinesis, but she could also do mindsight. I mean, and other things. Carol's very strong in many of these things. So a
Yeah.
great gal. And it's funny because when she came to our seminar, she had her mask on and she got very indignant. And she called myself and Wendy over and she says, Rob and Wendy, I want a new mask. She was a little bit angry. And we said, why? She says, my mask is broken. And I said, what do you mean it's broken? She says, I can see through it. It's broken. And we said, Carol, that is what is supposed to happen. You are seeing with your mindset. And then, of course, we all started laughing. And I said, no matter what mask we give you, you're going to be seeing through the plastic because you can see without your eyes. And so, she was one of the first person to also put patches on. And, her patches were broken also. But so, we made a lot of jokes around it. But, you know, Carol was very strong with her mindset. She was one of our first to open in that seminar. So she's a great gal from Brazil. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Whoa, so I think that I have to go with the kids because the super nanny has left so many minutes ago and they are sleeping alone, and I need to check. I don't know, Tanya, if you have some question more, I can. No? Okay. So, Rob, it's a big pleasure to meet you again. I think that these first two meetings are just the beginning of something bigger. And so, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to edit the video. I will take like 20 minutes, something
Sure.
like that, for make something just the more related things with the blind people. I think that it's what I'm going to use, but at the same time, there is a lot of coincidences, a lot of things.
Synchronicities.
Yeah, yes, exactly. About our jobs, so it's amazing. I don't know how I will cut all the video because there is a lot of important things.
I appreciate you having me on your podcast. Tanya and Jordi, and anytime you want to talk again in the future, I'll be happy to speak with you. Look forward to it.
Well,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Please.
Thank you. The same for us. It's a super pleasure to be here with you.
And
So thank
let's
you.
watch this whole ability of Mindsight improve and expand and develop and find even easier ways to teach it, especially for the blind people.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that it's something historical what we are doing.
Mm,
And actually, as I said, this chapter we will explain about a little bit about history.
mhm.
And we said something like at the beginning it was impossible, then there was just a crazy thing of a crazy people, then seems that it was something that people can train, then blind people starts to do it, and also we have some blind people that they are teaching.
Yeah,
So there is an evolution, really fast evolution, and we are privilegiats, com es diu? Uh,
lucky.
we
Well,
have the lucky to be living this change in the world.
exactly. And Kelly herself wants to be a teacher. And I've
Yes,
told
yes.
her, once you're bulletproof, by all means, I would love to have her at the seminars teaching sighted folks and blind folks. Can you imagine a blind girl teaching the sighted folks?
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. Have a nice evening or afternoon. Evening.
Well, it's late afternoon here. Well,
Afternoon.
5:17 p.m. Yeah.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Coming into the
Oh,
evening. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
So thank
you
you so
too.
much and enjoy of the fresh air of the night.
Thanks so much. All right.
Thank
You take
you.
care, both of you, and we'll see you soon.
See
See you
you.
soon.
Bye
Bye.
Bye.
bye.